I saw some studies, not my own study, but my other colleagues' study. They observed actually young people, the young generation, and also the knowledge workers. There was a trend that they actually returned to the city center, especially for the couples, for the young people without kids. They have not have kids yet. So they return to the city center because they really, again, the consumer city amenities. So they went there because they really enjoy nightlife, all the bars, all these amenities there in the city center, socializing. So that was a trend before the COVID, before the pandemic. Young couples and young people without kids return back to the very vibrant city center to enjoy that vibrant life there. And then for the pandemic, and pandemic came, then as we all saw that working from home and all the CBD, the office buildings closed down and people went back home and they have home office, they work from home, they didn't need to commute to the city center. That's currently during the last year and this year, this pandemic. So I think after the pandemic, I guess that will be a structural, I think that's a structural change. Basically, there will be more flexibility in terms live, work, and play. So it's still valuable to go to the city center with these high density interactions that will still be valuable. But might be like people only go in twice a week or 3 times a week, like in that way. And of course, still for this knowledge intensive industries, they still need to go back to the city center to interact. So that's for sure, but it's more flexibility, not like every day. And then people will have some more time to work from home with a remote way for some other time, for some rest of the time. I think that will be like structural change like in this way, but the city center will still be quite vibrant with people coming in, but with a more flexible way. Because of the online e-commerce that has a shock to this offline brick and mortar shops. So that's another shock. And this was accelerated in the pandemic. And more people felt so convenient to do online shopping, to order things online. But my argument is still a structural change. It's not like only will be the online shopping, the trend will continue forever to grow up and offline continue always to go down. But there will be some like internal structural change that the offline shopping still important for those we call experience goods and service, and those social interaction types. So, and then we still want to go to these shops and go to these restaurants to meet with people, with friends. And then for some like new fashion products, the customers still want to try first before buying. So for these experience goods, that you need the experience, and for those activities, you really need this socializing together. That will still in these offline places. But for those relatively standard products and goods and service, then that will be more and more go to online. So basically, like the shopping mall, the owners of the shopping mall and also these investors of this commercial area, they need to adjust the structure and to put more like experience-based and the social interaction-based things in the shopping mall or that area. There is such a trend for more space in a house that can be designated as a home office. So for example, if like a couple, then you need two rooms to be used as a home office if like two of them, they are both working from home. So the demand for larger houses really go up. And then because if you need larger houses, you need to go further away from the city center so that the unit price will be lower so that you can buy and own larger houses. That's why the suburban areas always currently have a very good market boom in the residential, because they can supply those larger houses with some rooms for the home office. And then I know some studies, they already showed that the workers will ask for higher wage from their employers to pay for that, because I need higher wage so that I can pay for a larger house, because I use some space in my house to work. So that's basically the trend, like this. And yes, and then we can see maybe some commuting will also go down. The daily commuting needs for the daily commuting will go down. But that does not mean we won't have traffic problem, because as we all know that commuting is like in the United States, daily commuting only accounts for 1/3 or even less of the total trips. The other 2/3 are those social activities and non-work trips, social and non-work trips. So that for those as a core function of the city, and when people are making more and more trips beyond this daily commuting, I think that still will be there.